Hello everyone, welcome back. Now, these are the final couplets of this poem, Elegy written in a country churchyard by Thomas Gray. And the mood of the poem or the tone of the poem changes from line number 93. It starts with, "For thee, who mindful of the unhonored death, does in these lines their artless tale relate. If chance, by lonely contemplation led, some kindred spirit shall inquire thy fate." Now the speaker, Thomas Gray, imagines how an old farm laborer might remember him after his death. The poet says that he has described in a simple, homely manner the life story of the simple farmers who are lying buried in their graves without achieving honor or fame in their life. He thinks that after death, when he also would be buried in this in his grave, some person of a contemplative frame of mind, like the poet, might pass that way and try to know about the life and achievements of the poet buried in the grave. The word or the phrase kindred spirit, if the speaker speculates the kindred spirit sees the speaker's grave and wonders about it, perhaps an old man might offer to describe the speaker. The old man would say that the speaker was often seen uh, wandering about the countryside at dawn, and presumably he was frequently out all night, as no doubt he has been in this very poem. So, in this stanza or quatrain, the poet Thomas Gray imagines himself dead, and he says that the way he is relating the life story of these poor farmers of this village who died unknown, unhonored, the way I am talking about them, it may be possible that one day when I will be buried here, some of some of them who is of the same mind makeup as I am, he would pass by my grave and would contemplate the same kind, contemplate my fate also, the way I am trying to fathom the fate of these engraved people. He says, "Then haply some hoary headed swain may say, often have we seen him at the peep of dawn, brushing with hasty steps the dews away to meet the sun upon the upland lawn." These lines suggest the love of Thomas Gray's love. These lines suggest the love of Thomas Gray towards nature. He says that after his death, Swain means some country person or a person with poetic ability but not that much refined. He may say, having a look at his grave, that when the poet was alive, uh, the people of the village had seen him at the time of the daybreak. He was going hastily to grassy hilltop, brushing the dew in the way, because generally there are dewdrops uh, on the leaves of grass. He went there to be able to have a clear view of the sunrise and enjoy the sight of the rising sun. So, this is just again a kind of a routine activity in which a person usually keeps himself busy. Just a simple way of life, but it is part of his life. Because if he were like the poor fathers of poor farmers of this village, he would also be busy with all those things which are part of their life. And if he enjoys watching the sunrise going is getting up early in the morning and going towards that hilltop, pressing the dew away and enjoy the sunrise, then it is a homely joy for the poet. But the people who are rich, they must not think that it is just an ordinary activity and what did he derive by doing that. It doesn't mean anything for those people who cannot experience or feel the bliss of this activity. Then he says that there at the foot of yonder nodding beach that wreathes its old fantastic roots so high, his listless length at noontide would he stretch and pour upon the brook that babbles by. Again, this quatrain shows the love of Thomas Gray towards nature, and it is in continuation with the previous one. And the country poet then would record the fact that he and the other people had seen Thomas Gray lying at full length under the branches of the distant beech tree at noontime. The poet used to lie there with pleasure under the branches of the beech tree without caring for all that he was going without caring for all that was going around him. The poet cared only for the music of the brook that flowed by the side of the tree. The poet loved the babbling and murmuring sound of the brook. So, again, Thomas Gray suggests that when someone tries to fathom or contemplate about the life story of Thomas Gray after he will be dead, then they will tell that how he used to roam around the village and after the noon time how he used to lie under that beech tree and enjoying the full solitude of the jungle. He would not care for anything. He would enjoy the things going on around him in the lap of nature. He would listen the music of the brook, the he would see the bubbles and the murmuring sound of the flow of water. Then he says, hard by yon wood, now smiling as in scorn, muttering his wayward fancies, he would row, now drooping, woeful wan, like one forlorn, or crazed with care, or crossed in hopeless love. This uh, this quatrain is related with the personality or the way personality of the Thomas Gray, that how he used to behave. Sometimes you can see or notice Thomas Gray uh, uh, feeling very lonely, sitting lonely, and sometimes he used to be very hard like the forest. The forest is scornful of the opinions of the world and is conscious of its own worth and superiority. Then, when the poet used to roam in the forest, then he used to speak to himself in an indistinct way. It is also uh, an indicator of how the poets behave when they are alone, because when they are alone they simply talk to themselves. Lot of thoughts they flicker in his mind and then he ponders over them. Just uh, I'm here reminded of William Wordsworth's definition of uh, poetry. He says that poetry is a spontaneous overflow of powerful feelings. It takes its origin in emotions, in tranquility. So, when you are alone, when you enjoy the bliss of solitude, at that time you feel that kind of divine inspiration. You are filled with rapture while looking at the beauty of nature, and then you begin to talk to himself and you after the observation, and then you contemplate, and then after all these three steps, you start composing poetry. So, whatever goes on into the mind of Thomas Gray here, it is reflected in his gestures, postures, and body movement, and his way of muttering something alone. People might think that he is crazy or he is mad, but it is not so. Artists are like this. So, the poetic thoughts and fancies they flashed through his mind. Sometimes he would say that the poet would hang low as if under the weight of some anxieties. He would appear like one who had been left alone by one's fellow men, or who had not achieved success in one's love affair. It may also be possible. So this is just the contemplation of that person or that uh, unlettered muse or kindred spirit who would inquire the fate of Thomas Gray after his death, when he would also be buried among the graves in this churchyard. So the mood of the poem here completely changes. Now the focus of the poet shifts from the poor forefathers of this village or the poor farmers of this village to himself. So, no, this is in a way a kind of identification of a human being with the other human beings. He compares and then finds that there is no difference between me and these people. If I am given any opportunity, or if I could write something about the fate of these forefathers, one day when I would be lying here, some other person or some other poet from this village, he would also inquire the same things as I am inquiring now about the people who are engraved here. So, this is all about these four quatrains. In the last lecture, we would conclude the poem, this elegy, Thomas Gray's elegy written in country churchyard. Thank you for listening me carefully.